barriers? What breaking barriers? What breaking barriers? Come on. What breaking barriers? Let's go. Listen up, y'all. Listen up, y'all.
This is Breaking Barriers, a true underdog podcast.
I'm excited. We have my arch nemesis at one point, Randi Miller. For those of you who don't know, Randi wrestled me when I was about 2 years old. All right.
And she won.
She won.
I did
and she
win, but it
holds
wasn't
that
two.
over. No, but I grew up in Missouri, and I remember actually having to wrestle you and helping you train to come back. And at the time, in all legitimacy, since it was 2009, I had to do the math. I was 14. I was 14 years old.
You're 14, but you weren't like 14 size.
Going on
That is
40.
true. I was scrawny. All right.
Scrawny for you. You weren't scrawny.
I was scrawny as comparatively to now.
Yeah.
Right. But I was training with you and out at Mike Ironman's. One of the highlights of my early career, honestly, because I remember I ran into you and Spencer Mango out there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was I don't know, it was a great time, but I just kind of, that makes me want to ask you, like, of your career, right? Where are those moments that like aren't necessarily competitive moments you remember, but like through training, like as far as like what life type, moments do you remember through your career?
Who are we talking to right now?
Randi, that's why I want to ask.
You just keep calling her Randi, though.
Oh, sorry, Randi Miller. Well, that's just how my connection is with this. I got Randi Miller here. All right, for those of you who don't know, is a bronze medalist in the 2008 Olympics. Okay, so I'm talking to another badass. All right, and I have much respect for her. That's what, but also I've had a relationship with you forever, so it's hard for me to just.
Is it because she beat your ass when you were 6, or because she's just a badass?
You know what, guys?
6 years. He was 16. Pretty soon you'll be a preteen.
Still, to the point, it's like I just kind of want about those moments away from wrestling that still were involved with wrestling, like memories that you have that kind of stay with you through your training, through your hard work, through it all.
Yeah, no, I would say probably at every stage, like high school, where I started, college, international, I probably had these moments you're talking about. I don't know if I can pinpoint them to one or two, because wrestling's just so demanding at all times, whether you have goals or not, just getting through the practice is just difficult. But to answer your question, one that stands out.
But to be fair.
One that stands out is high school. It was my introduction to wrestling. And as you know, part of those first practices is to weed out people. There's really no point. It's just going to weed out people who, I guess.
Keep coming through the door.
Exactly. And I guess first practice was this 3.5 hour long practice. I've been in sports my whole life. I've never done anything like that, seen anything like that. It was from the track to the wrestling room to the weight room to conditioning. And being able to get through that and being at the end of it, I really appreciated myself a little bit differently after that first day, because I was able to get through something hard where half the people that were in the room with me couldn't. I guess if I'm going to keep going here, I'm going to rant a little bit. At that time, I don't know if I had the highest self-esteem about myself, but all these people who I saw as high esteem and I thought warrant respect and I thought were valuable, which I guess I didn't see that for myself, couldn't do what I just did.
Right.
They left. And after that, I was hooked. And that's one of that key memory of my development.
This is what I wanted to do. This is what it was. So then, as we fast forward, one thing that I've kind of talked about with many different athletes is, especially for now, for women's wrestling, like I'm so happy for where women's wrestling is now. One thing I've talked about with some of them is some of the female athletes, though, is like, this is before a little bit where like didn't seem to be a path as far as going from high school to the next level to senior level, right? So that's why I credit a lot of female athletes, especially early on female athletes, for accomplishing what they've accomplished. One, what was that path for you? What did that look like, right? And honestly, how did you find it? Because it is kind of quite a jump to go from I'm here in high school, maybe if there's a college, I can do that, and then senior level, hopefully someone's there to pick me up and help me know how to navigate this. So
No, there was no path, as you're saying. I didn't know that college was an option and all of this was an option. There's a lot of luck, universe, God, whatever you want to believe in. In a lot of ways, maybe it was good because all I really had to focus on was working hard and doing what I like. And then doing that allotted me spots in different places, in different rooms, and it opened doors. And it kind of took the pressure off. But as far as that, yeah, there's no path. It was by luck. I went to a school that recruited me. That's the only way I knew they had women's wrestling. And then from there,
What school did you go to?
my first college was Neosho County Community College in Chanute, Kansas.
Where?
It's a small town in Kansas, and I was headed to University of North Texas.
Chanute.
Yeah, went Chanute.
Don't just quietly interrupt.
Yeah, I've heard of this.
They had a good men's team.
You
They-
heard
they
of
won
this?
NCJCAAs, whatever. They have a good men's team.
Okay.
what in the abbreviation school are we talking about?
NJC, did you in college?
National Junior
Yeah.
College Athletic Association.
Yeah, NJCAA, right? They've won titles there. And I went there because they recruited me. I was headed to some big school in Texas. So when I was like, hey, I kind of want to go to this small junior college, my parents were like, what? Excuse me?
I feel like those old women's programs back in the day were just small schools. Like that was the only option for women's wrestlers. Like, all right, here's this tiny little school somewhere. Like, I mean,
Oklahoma City University.
Oklahoma City, but that's a bigger school compared to some of
No,
those
but
places.
not when we started.
No.
I
That
got
wasn't, that wasn't an option.
that
I
was
had-
a blip on the map.
King.
No,
that's
King was
true.
it. Here are the schools that were around that I didn't know about when I was coming out of high school. This is how old I am. Minnesota Morris,
Okay.
Missouri Valley, Cumberland,
Yeah, Cumberland.
and then this junior college that decided that they were going to start a program.
Some guy just killed somebody else. No, that was Cumberland. Yeah.
Someone killed someone at Cumberland?
it was a men's wrestler.
What? What happened?
Oh, he like lost his mind.
Oh, I did hear this. Yeah. Yeah, teammates fighting.
Wow.
Teammates fight. No,
It was like a murder. It was a murder. It was not a.
he'd already like got kicked
Is
off the
it-
team.
Wait, he got kicked off the team. Is that why he murdered his teammate?
I think it was like a previous. He had been kicked off already, and like there was
Was it?
an altercation, and then this guy killed his roommate.
Jeez.
She's like, I'm glad I avoided that school.
Out there.
And that was it. And then I think there was like girls sprinkled around wrestling on men's teams. Like people were at Lock Haven, people
Yep.
were at Pacifica out here.
Yeah.
Yeah, people were sprinkled around. I think Arizona had a couple girls in their room. So that's kind of what it was. So yeah, no direct path.
I get you. So was that also what put you in position as far as from that school to the Olympic level? Or
Oh no.
how did that transition then work?
So what happened? Around that time, they you'll like this story.
Okay.
They announced that women will wrestle in the 2004 Olympics.
Yay.
True, yeah, that women will wrestle in 2004 Olympics. I told myself that I'm not going to be ready by 2004. At this time, I think it was 01, maybe 02. But I was like, I'll be ready by 2008.
Mm-hmm.
So that put the thought, like them opening up the USOC, is that who makes the decision?
Yeah.
Opening up the sport to...
Well, IOC, the
IOC.
IOC. So it's a weird system. So our system starts with a FILA Senate.
It's still FILA?
Well, that's what it was when you
And it's
were coming up.
UWW now.
It's UWW.
Okay,
But the
gotcha.
FILA Senate had to pass a measure that would suggest that women's wrestling be accepted and adapted as a Olympic sport. But then they said we had too many medals And so they got rid of weight classes, and then they added 2 bronze medals. And I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And I get it. Like, I've had a relationship with you, but like, even for my career, like getting to wrestle you and knowing who you were, right? And I should say, getting to know who you were. And that's an on me thing, because I wasn't very big on looking up wrestlers and who was great and whatnot when I was coming up out at Mike Ironman's. Getting to know you, know what you've done, and especially for me, when you've done it and knowing where women's wrestling has come, does it ever like hit you that like I'm a huge stepping stone for where women's wrestling is, and where it's gonna get to, especially now with you're still interacting, you're still coaching, like how much of a I would say, I guess, a legend you are on the women's side.
Okay, like I know I'm a big deal. I don't think the rest...
She's a huge deal.
I don't
Huge
think
deal.
the rest of
Bigly.
the community, maybe at this time, understands how hard that was for that generation of women. Like, it really wasn't a thing. And when you were at places, it wasn't the safest space for you. So you either just kind of bit down, took it, and got to get to where you needed to go, or you left.
Right.
So the ones that kind of came through had to deal with a lot. And I don't know if that's appreciated. I don't think people get how hard that actually was.
All right, so you had a long career, and like you had many training partners, people you trained with for different years. Can you talk about? We want to delve into some topics here. Can you talk about coaches and your training partners and kind of how they maybe took them away from you a little bit? We talked a little bit off camera, but maybe we
I'll
can
tell
kinda
you.
delve into it.
So what you're talking about specifically is I was having a situation with a coach. I didn't really like that person's method of coaching. And it became clear that I could either get along and be left alone, so to speak, or not. What I thought at the time getting along meant that I had to accept whatever my fate may be. But I had decided I was making that 2008 team way back.
In 04.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, in 2001, I decided I'm going to make this team. Okay.
Yeah.
7-year process.
So that's what I was going to do. And some people may have had some other plans, but it's not up to anybody else other than me and the person that's competing with. It's not up to people who aren't on the mat with us.
Right.
So I think kind of not going along with the plan, which I'm hearing stories. It's like the same story for a lot of athletes, a lot of Black athletes. I'll say it.
Yeah.
That it may not. Things have to happen on different terms. You have to wait your turn. Well, I don't know if I'm going to be here next year, next month. I don't know if I'm going to get hurt, if I'm going to get pregnant, or whatever. You know,
If I'm going to have the money to afford this.
Yeah, I don't know. So I'm going to have, this is going to happen now.
Yeah.
And then I'll reevaluate if it's going to happen again. So anyway, because I'm not going along with whatever said plan, I think that kind of created turbulence for my career. And just sometimes I just felt like this person maybe just wanted to get under my skin a little bit. And yeah, there's times where I'm training for stuff and this person's taking my partner or telling my partner to tell me that they can't go with me and whatever.
But doesn't that just sound like, I don't know, stupid?
Yeah, of course.
Like, there's no other word for stupid other than stupid.
Philosophy to come through with this one, but no, it is stupid.
But it seems like it's not. So at the time, like my immaturity, I thought this is something that this is just happening to me. Like, this is unfair. It's happening to me. Why am I still hearing the same story? Why am I hearing it on men's side? Why am I hearing it why are coaches acting like this? Like, is there something I don't get? I'm a coach. I don't choose the team. The girls choose the team. The girls choose the lineup.
Yeah.
I just facilitate the practices. So
That's like, to me, that like, it's detrimental to your athlete. Like, for me, I'm like, so we're hanging out with, Greg Kerfleet's here this weekend. And Greg's like, Kyle Snyder picked me. And we were like, yeah, because I mean, his body type resembles the athletes that he potentially will see, or the styles, the people you present. So when a coach snatches a training partner away from another athlete, it's like, well, dude, like that person was chosen for a reason. And I will say every practice or training partner for our Olympians is chosen for a specific reason. And sometimes you don't know that reason until they're in the moment. But a coach derailing that just seems like counterproductive, you know?
Yeah, I don't get it.
Well, and also, like, I think, too, I think somewhat your story's different. I'm just speaking to, I don't want to call this a benefit of the doubt thing, but it's more of a common sense thing. With the gentlemen that are part of our Olympic team now, most of them have been on this path for a while, right? So they understand what they're looking for and the partners they choose for certain practices, certain situations, things like that. And so, like, it's kind of changed a little bit more. But at the same time, there are moments where it's just kind of like, yeah, there's a little bit more controllable reins of a path in a life choice that, like, this person's made. Like, you didn't choose this for them, right? You made the choice that I'm going to go to the race of 2008. I'm going to do this. And then to have somebody else try and put their hands, I'm going to say in a sense, on your baby, like it's on your dream, right? So it's just like, it can throw off so many things mentally, spiritually. And also the main thing it throws off is your goal for the end game. I always tell people, like, the Olympic Games, and now that I'm able to share with a fellow Olympian, right? It is, wow, it's one day. It's one day. You have, let's just say, what did you say, like 10 hours to be the best.
I don't think people understand the weight that you're talking about. I don't think he understood. I think it's easy for him to go and do this and do that because he's never experienced or gonna experience put in the work or the heart, the drive or into anything. How could he?
Right.
He's just doing his job badly, poorly, like usual, I guess. Like, so he's not really understanding what he's actually asking or doing.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure maybe they didn't realize the vitriol they were going to get back from doing something like that to me. But I don't think it's that serious to him. He's not an Olympian. He doesn't want to be. He's never going to be. I don't think he's even looked at anything in his life with that kind of intensity, passion, and consistency. So how can he understand me? This is just a game or something for this person.
So would you say, like, because, like, you know, there's all the stuff that leads up to Olympics. For those of you who don't know, there's a lot that goes into Olympics behind the scenes, cool things, busy days, interviews, things like that. So my question is, in the midst of that, in the midst of other people trying to be, I don't know, involved in the ways they shouldn't be, or just tinkering with things they shouldn't tinker with, did you actually get to enjoy it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure, like, you know.
Oh, yeah.
It's a big deal, like some of that stuff.
Yeah. No, I did. A lot. I enjoyed a lot. Yeah.
The way you're looking at me, like, she enjoyed this a lot.
Definitely. I mean, we all have, it's an underdog podcast, we all have our naysayers.
Yeah.
So, yeah, standing on a podium with my flag behind my face, I enjoyed that. I enjoy saying I'm an Olympic medalist, the first Black woman. There's 7 of us, 2 Black women now. After me, I'm the first.
Yes.
Yeah, I like saying that. After all that, that getting put through that, plus my own work, all of that was validated, right? I mean, not that you shouldn't feel invalidated if you didn't reach a goal, but it definitely does feel that way at the time. But I got that validation. That felt great.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I enjoy it. Still enjoy it.
You should.
Even more now.
Oh, yeah, you definitely should.
Now that I'm old, I love being the old lady back in my day. You know?
Y'all don't know what hard's like.
Yeah,
Get out of here.
exactly.
Well, let's just be honest. None of these people know what it's like. No, because listen. So Randi is an old school. Her and Takara Montgomery, I swear, I used to look at y'all like this. They just some badasses.
I love Takara.
Right? Like, but y'all two, when I would watch y'all, I'm like, yo, these are my peers. But I used to be like, yo, I used to literally tell referees, you ain't gonna talk about them like that. And if you all ever had a match, I'm like, don't screw them. I would tell other referees, don't screw them. Because I know what happens in the background. Like, I know how people are like, oh, that kid, he's such a chump, or she's always trying. I'm like, yeah, just because you don't want to make whoopee, don't mean that that athlete isn't deserving of respect.
Right.
And, you know, for being like one of the few, you know, FILA or UWW black officials, you have to tell people, like, should you really be saying that, sir? That seems a little counterproductive to our movement.
That is fair. That is a fair
Like,
point.
and so you and, like I said, between Randy and Takara, you know, back in the day, they didn't fuck for the kill though. They was like, yo, kill crazy. Now they
there's
do.
other wrestlers. I mean, that probably experienced that. Tina George, you know, Iris Smith, like high level wrestlers.
Oh, Iris definitely did.
I mean, she's
They said things about Iris that were so untrue. They made up stories about Iris. Because I would be like, Iris, they just said you was having blah, blah, and you had so and so. Iris be like, who? I didn't know that mofo. Like, he had none of this. Like, they would make up, like, there were people that made up sexual innuendos about our women athletes.
That's,
Like-
I didn't know that. I didn't know the rest were back there talking like that.
Oh, my God.
Wow. That's crazy.
No, they used to say things. Oh, please. Well, think about this. Like, they used to talk about women in such, they used to, so there was a guy, and, you know, Rusty Davis and Jim Stormo, right? Two referees. These are the only two referees who would actually volunteer to officiate women's wrestling matches. Everybody else would be like, well, it's like refereeing JV. I'd be like,
From JV people.
Yeah, like Jamie.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
That's some shade.
We're here. We're here.
But it's true though. Like, they used to really make our women feel like they were JV athletes. Like, oh well, I don't want to referee. I'm like, I'll referee the girls because I'm like, what's the difference? I mean, hopefully there is a pin, so I get made to look easy. Or you had that nice little double leg where you would come through. Like, before Jordan Burroughs, I do remember you having a couple good double legs.
But I would say Takara was better at it. For a few years I used it, but then I felt like I don't know, I made this transition to the front headlocks and high singles. But Takara is the one that had like the double leg soups, the power doubles you off the stage. Like, it was insane.
I think she's still the only American wrestler to win FILA Athlete of the Year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, most people don't recognize that. I know that.
Yeah. She did.
I know it.
You learned something new every day. I didn't even know that.
This is recency bias, though. I like people. Unfortunately, I feel like. I mean, I remember watching you wrestle in the Olympics and win the medal, but I'm 37, and some people that are younger, 10 years younger than me, they might not have seen that. And there's such high level of like popularity in women's wrestling now. It's growing so fast. I think it's unfortunate people don't know about you and people that, you know, Takara Montgomery, Sarah McMahon, who you beat, you know, you beat an Olympic silver medalist to make the team to even go to get your medal. So
Yeah.
like, I feel like people.
Is that who you beat?
Yeah.
So you beat a legend to beat a legend. Oh. How's she feel about that to this day?
Sarah? Yeah. I don't think she feels any type of way.
Yeah. Because Royce Alger be getting mad at like Kenny Monday or Kevin Jackson. He be talking about Kevin Jackson 30 years later. Be like, he should have beat me. I'm like, Jesus, man.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Go.
I never felt like any kind of disrespect. Like, you know, honestly, never from the athletes. I've never felt that way. I almost, like, back then it felt like it was very much together. Now that doesn't mean that we didn't go out there and scrap, but I never felt any disrespect from the athletes in that way. I felt from coaching leadership, and they really wanted who they wanted on the team. And like I said, that decision was made. I was going to do everything I could to be ready by 2008.
I also want to say too, seeing that you are a legend, you have a cemented legacy, right? And for me, I should say, like, my definition, or like for something to be truly be like a legacy, like, I feel like it needs to be surpassed. I want to become a stepping stone. I don't want to just to be here and the sport never evolved. So you have literally been like a stepping stone, the stepping stone, not only for Black athletes, but a whole generation of women's athletes, right? So it's like now that you see this, where you see now, the Jakara Winchesters, the Tamara Mitsa-Stocks, Aaron Golsons of the world and stuff. Like, do you ever just kind of sit back and when you see them on top of the podiums winning those medals and just like, like I know it's just like maybe I wasn't a part of it, like I wasn't always talking to you, but like, man, I was an example for some of these girls, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I was actually saying how this Olympic cycle was a little bit sad for me because these girls that are on a team or were trying out for the team, this is the last group that I was actually wrestling alongside with. Everybody underneath them or the next generation, if these girls decide to leave, only know me as a coach. But like I was in the room with Helen and Shakara, Sarah, and I was their teammate at one point.
Right.
And this is my last group that I actually wrestled with.
Is it harder to be remembered, or is it harder to be remembered as the coach? Like, you know what I mean? Like, because everybody knows me as like, yo, Akil, the uncle, like, yeah, that's the old head, yo. And then it's like, y'all do realize I did wrestle too, right?
Yeah, you're seeing them wrestle up until, what's 12 years ago.
The old 2012, man. Like,
Yeah.
shut up.
Not that long. It's not that long in the grand scheme of things.
Shut up.
It's 12 years ago. It isn't that long.
To me, that's not long. To some wrestlers,
Keel's going to make a comeback.
I think
No.
28.
No.
Greco, you can go forever.
the Greco guys aren't going to like that.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think, the Greco Goes Forever came from?
Why?
Because for a period of time, everybody was making the team at like 32.
Yeah, true.
Like, it was just like, everybody started making it 32 and they'd stay on until like 38 and then they retire.
Right.
TC Dancer, you don't mess up that. TC didn't make a team until he was 37.
That's pretty amazing.
Wow.
Really?
Finally made it.
was
Yo,
37?
TC was 37,
That's so
maybe
good.
36. And then he was dominant for like 6 years. TC looked like, when he was 42, I used to be like this. Ain't no way this man 42.
I had no idea.
Yeah, right? He that black don't crack, that brown don't frown kind of thing, TC, we love you.
We do. That is a good question. You said, is it harder to be remembered?
Is it harder to be remembered? Is it even harder to be remembered as just the coach?
So I'll preface it with saying I think like our governing body or whoever's responsible for, I guess, talking about wrestlers and the past athletes could do a better job of that. I feel like not just me, but there's a lot of people that aren't talked about. I heard you talking about Bobby Douglas and the battles with Dan Gable and how nobody knows that. They went at it for an Olympic team. They wrestled like 5 times before finally, I think, Gable's dad was like, that's enough. Bobby clearly is the Olympian.
Bobby's
Yeah.
better. I'll
Yeah.
take the next spot.
But yeah, I don't think a lot of people know. If I went to that room or went to any room, was like, hey, who's Bobby Douglas? What did he do? Where did he coach? Would they know? So I think wrestling as a community can do a better job of talking about the wrestlers and the success that we've had. But to answer your question, I've been forgotten and remembered a few times now, so I guess I'm just used to it.
To me, it's astonishing because you know how I love you girls, like the women. Like I love our teams, like from Clarissa Chan all the way down to Helen Morales and like Stephanie Lee even. Like people realize Stephanie Lee broke a barrier and nobody even looked at it. Stephanie Lee, first off, she was disqualified for smoking weed, which I adamantly disagree with. Puff, puff, pass. But then she was also like one of the first like openly lesbian women to like be in the sport, like openly. I didn't say she wasn't.
Yeah,
there's a lot of
openly,
other women, but she was one of the first open ones.
She wasn't hiding who she was, though.
Yeah. A lot of girls, like, they did have to hide relationships because we had coaches, and we still have coaches who are like, hey, let's do Bible study right in the middle of the mat. Homosexuality is a sin. How does that make an athlete feel? Like, yo, and that's why somebody was like, yo, can we at least give it like 15 minutes? Like, give people opportunity to get off the bat and come back. Like, we have really great athletes, and they should be remembered for their accomplishments. But instead, we have forgotten so many, and I don't like it. I think Bobby Douglas, but I remember that Bobby Douglas. Do you guys know a guy by the name of Emmanuel Yarbrough? Emmanuel Yarbrough. You ever seen the movie Wildcats?
No.
All right, so it's a movie. Yeah, so Wildcats. You got to watch it. It's with Goldie Hawn. It's from the 1980s, and there's this big dude, and he reaches in his pants. He's like 800 pounds. He reaches in his pants and gives the coach money. He's like, Coach, I want to go in. And he hands Goldie Hawn all his money. She's like, you don't have to pay me. He's like, I want to go in. And the dude's huge. Well, that was Emmanuel Yarbrough. Emmanuel Yarbrough ends up being a UFC fighter. He actually lost that fight. It was pretty bad. He got his face kicked in. But anyway, so he was like 600 pounds. But Emmanuel Yarbrough was an NCAA All-American twice. He was at Morgan State University. He was a football player. Like, he did both sports. And then we've got a lot of, people that are like, Emmanuel Yarbrough goes on to have a television career, acting career, MMA, UFC career, and then he dies and he's forgotten about. I don't want us to be forgotten about. I want our athletes to be celebrated, whether it's Dan Gable or Dan Hodge. Let's celebrate you.
That is fair. That is a fair point. Speaking of the UFC, told you I was going to bring that up. So you were one and done. So
Talking about MMA.
MMA. You did one fight.
You did what? You were a fighter?
Yeah, you did know this.
No, I killed. Big Unc don't know something. That's when you know it's rare.
You can't lose this footage. Okay.
Because I don't. Look at her looking at me like.
No,
But I do.
a lot of people don't know. Yeah, so I'm not worried about it. Yeah.
Randi Miller had those hands apparently, but because you won, wasn't it by tactical knockout?
Yeah, it was tough though. Like I didn't do that great. I didn't do that great. Yeah, I have a 1-0. What is it, record?
Yes.
I fought for Invicta, which was an all women's MMA card.
Yeah.
They're still around. Of
Yes,
course.
for sure.
Yeah.
You went pro right away?
Yeah, I had to.
Wow.
She's like, I need to eat.
I mean, that's hard to step in right off. Like, I mean, obviously, you high level wrestler, Olympic medalist, but it's tough to just hop into a new discipline like that, I imagine.
Yeah.
With no pro experience.
Yeah, I was training with this is when I left wrestling.
Okay.
So I had a side mission. My side mission was I was going to pursue this MMA career, and I came back to wrestling.
What year was this?
It had to be like 2009. So I left wrestling in 2008. I think the fight was 2012, actually. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because you put it off because the first time was because I think you said like you weren't ready. You didn't feel you were ready for pro debut, and then it got canceled on another card, and then you fought what was her name?
Molly Estes.
Yeah, and because the original was some woman from Japan that you were going to fight.
I actually got hurt.
You got hurt?
I got hurt before that fight. Doing things I don't know what I'm doing. I hurt my hand.
She's like, I have no idea what I was supposed to be doing.
I hurt my hand.
Do I have to retract you got those hand statements from earlier?
Yeah, you might. If you watch the fight, I mean, I do win, but I do not have hands.
Okay, all right.
She got a front headlock.
You have to watch.
Come here, girl. I'm gonna choke you out.
You'll have to watch the match. Yeah, it's good, but you'll have to watch it.
I don't feel like.
It's on YouTube. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's get a YouTube footage going.
Okay, it'll pop right.
Run it back.
If we could have Randi Miller become the Ronda Rousey of the UFC. Imagine. That's a good what if.
Yeah.
What if?
Ooh.
Is that
What if Randi
All right.
Miller-
So listen, the segments are supposed to be broken into 3 different areas, right? We never go over the format because Jaden isn't necessarily that type of host. But here's the format. Our format is shoot the shit, strike a nerve, which I think we did. Yes. Lee, thank you for that one. Strike a nerve with the coaches, and then we do the what ifs, and then finally the closeout.
What was strike the nerve?
Strike a nerve was like the coach when you go. Some coaches.
Oh. No, we could talk about that actually. I think.
You really go into it, girl.
No, I would say I think at the time, like I said, I really took it more personally than I should have. I keep hearing, like I said, I keep hearing the same story. And to circle back, like I probably shouldn't have put so much stock into what this person was saying and doing because he's don't know. Some people ain't gonna understand someone who's driven with goals.
Right.
They're just there doing stuff.
Supervised, monitor, but not living the same life. It's different being a coach and athlete. Obviously, as you know, as a coach, it's a different world.
So, like, I was taking it like that. Like, how dare you take something I've been spending all hours of the day for? Yeah, when this person doesn't get that, they're not gonna get that. They don't understand that. So.
That's how I feel about the IRS too. Just how dare you didn't? You need to put this in. How dare you come and tell me I have to give you this?
Yeah.
I understand. No, I understand. No, the true frustration of that though.
Yeah.
It's like, and especially like on a journey that's literally been fought for tooth and nail from get go.
And I understand it. Can't be mad. You don't get it. I got to keep doing that. Got to stay the course, you know. So.
Stay the course. 1,000 points of emphasis.
Okay, so yeah, I guess that did strike a nerve.
It does.
You made him ask me.
Well, I just reminded him, and he was like,
jump into this.
I was like, get over here. Go ahead and talk about it.
Strike a nerve here. If whoever sees it that knows those stories, it probably strikes a nerve there as well.
But I think that's part of what we're here for, right?
Exactly.
Like,
You can promote change if we're talking about
yeah.
it here.
Like,
It's
so the thing that I am, I'm wrestling's favorite uncle. I am, I'm the fun guy. You can spot me out by one of my mini tacky Nike tech suits apparently, because Jaden's like, Akil, why do you have to wear those colors? I'm like, well, you can see me, can't you?
I mean, I could have seen you with something else on too.
No, see, that's the thing. You
said
wouldn't
it was
see.
tacky.
It's just okay. We don't need to get into it right now.
That hurt your feelings.
It doesn't hurt my feelings.
My feelings don't get hurt.
Right. All right. All I'm saying though is that I just don't like the jumpsuit. That's it. That's literally it.
They are nice.
I like a good set.
Randy looks at me. She goes, "Okay, Gil, I can accept this."
Some of the colors are a little bit much, but you.
Thank you, Lee.
Which one? The pink?
That olive one.
The purple?
Olive one.
Well, you do the purple top and bottom. I think.
Yeah, no, you gotta. I think you gotta do the set.
You gotta do the set. This is like taking
I
it
like
back
the
to
green one. I like the green.
the green one. Like I got the red. I got a new canary yellow thing coming.
You what?
That's a new.
I don't
He's
wanna
been
know.
talking about this
I don't
canary.
wanna know.
Got a canary yellow coming.
I do not want to know. The only thing I gotta say is that you have a Nike Lead account, and that's what you spend the money on.
Tracksuits
Tracksuit.
and Jordans.
I don't have
I don't have a problem with.
I don't have a lead account. I am not one of their. Everything I get is because I have friends at the corporate level.
Right. And yeah,
nice.
You use it for tracksuits.
it doesn't make it better. It's not helping. It's making. I can't.
I like the suit.
I like the
You've seen
seats.
from a mile away, which is
But that's because I'm tall and I'm big.
Randy, why are you encouraging him?
I like a good set, like a.
I'm like an 80s baby. That's why we 80s babies.
Yeah.
Like, we like, remember aunties and uncles being at the picnic? You'd be like, ooh, they got
Matching, yeah.
matching
Matching set.
I'm like, damn.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Go to
I
the
like the
barbecue.
suit.
She's like, that's hot. That's hot. They had Adidas stripes on. They had
Yeah, I like that.
shoes and 3 stripes. Come on now. She know. She's like, Akil is the big hunk. Like that's old school. That's old school right there.
I know you need to get going soon, so I want to hit this because I think that is a perfect what if. What if Randy Miller sticks with fighting, right? Because we talked about it earlier, and you were like, already get fights. Wasn't much going on. It's just like,
Would Ronda Rousey get her ass kicked by Randy Miller?
yeah, what if Randy Miller is the I don't want to say the next Ronda Rousey, but
No. Ronda Rousey would have got her head split open, I think, by Randy Miller.
Man, you're putting me in a weird spot.
So what if?
What am I supposed to say here?
What if?
what do you think if you would have stayed with MMA?
Oh, I would all of a sudden start losing to everybody. What am I supposed to say here?
No. Like, do you see would you have seen your career playing out?
The same way my wrestling career. I think I would have dialed in,
Yeah.
did what I needed to do to be champion.
Okay. So you think you're right here, right now, you'd be like, yep, Ronda Rousey would have been torn up.
Yeah.
We wouldn't know her name.
No.
Oh wow! We would
And
not know Randi
you know,
Miller.
she's an Olympic bronze medalist as well in combat sport.
See?
So she, if you sat her here, she would say the same thing. This is how we think.
Yeah, no. I think you would have won hands down.
Well, I hope you would say that with me sitting here, be rude.
Hands down.
If you're like, Rhonda would beat your ass right now, that'd be mean.
What is that Olympic mindset? Like, I mean, I've heard Kayla Harrison talk about this. And, like, she was in interviews and it's like hyper confidence. She's going to the UFC. Of course, she's going to be the champion. Like, there's no doubt in her mind. Like, she was in PFL. She lost the fight, but it's like, no, I'm going to the UFC to win. Like, not to. She's cut down to 135.
Right. Yeah.
Which is, that's a tough cut.
It is.
You know, I mean, it's hard.
Vicky Anthony says it all the time. She look us in the face. She's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna win." I'm like, "Vicky, you are 4 feet tall, girl." But then you think,
Yeah, you're right.
But they're smart. It's not just toughness. They're intelligent. They know how to utilize, everything about them, what they have and everything about them. It's not. I don't like. For me personally, when it comes to athletes, like I just don't like being like, "Whoa, you're tough." And this is like, no, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of people who are tough and still would get their
yeah.
heads kicked in
So-
because they don't know how to utilize what they have.
Sure.
But I mean, I just always want to think about like,
What if?
what if, like, do you think you would
No.
still been more active with wrestling, like you are, as active as you were with wrestling as you are now? Like come back and coach and stuff like that?
No, like, so there's a component in fighting that I never really got the knack of that I think Rhonda did really well, and that she entertains too. Like there actually wasn't women in the UFC, but here comes Rhonda on Twitter
Yeah.
talking her mess, getting people interested, saying the things that we're saying, right? I will beat anybody.
Yeah.
I will fight anybody, anytime, any weight. It doesn't matter to me. And started this whole movement. There wasn't really women in the UFC before her. So that's a part that I never really got, probably because my upbringing. Like you put your head down and
Stay
you work.
humble, do the
yeah,
work, yeah.
Yeah, you don't talk crap. You don't. That's
But isn't that like part of like, Lee, cover your ears, cover earmuffs, Lee. Isn't that part of our world? Like
yeah,
we're told,
respectability.
like,
Yeah.
look, you gotta take a couple.
Finesse it.
They're gonna call you some names out on the
I
mat.
probably couldn't have gotten away with it. No.
Yeah, like-
I probably wouldn't have landed me a UFC contract if I was acting like that. No, but that's a component that I never got. Like I can't be on interviews being like, you know what? Like I can't.
F that girl, I'll smack her in the face. I'll break her face. You'd be like this. If I said that, they'd be like, get her for assault charges.
Yeah. I'd be ghetto.
She'd be like,
I'd be
"You
loud.
would."
And I just can't do it. Like it'll. If I were doing that, it would come off not authentic. Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like me when I try to rap. Like it just doesn't. Even
It
though
is.
rap?
I
Oh,
to
he
rap,
tried.
it's
He definitely
I
tried.
tried. Yeah.
I want to hear.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't want to hear it at all. No, I understand that completely. Like you're just trying to add an implement that's just isn't who I am.
Yeah.
So it probably actually would have taken away from you more than
Right.
enhanced
Yeah.
you.
So like I think as much as I liked fighting and the challenge of it and learning a new discipline, as you're saying, it just probably wasn't for me. Like I'm not an entertainer. I'm not. Like I just kind of want to go out there and get the job done and go home and be proud of the work I did. You know.
Well, I am an entertainer.
To be fair, that is true.
I-
But it's still cool that I'm sorry, I don't mean to be that. But it's just awesome, dude. It's awesome. Like I think it's really cool. I think because I always have a difference. Obviously, wrestling and UFC are vastly different. I want to be prefaced with that.
But you're a WWE guy anyway. I
I
can see.
am
Really?
through. Yeah, I was.
Are you gonna like get in it?
Oh no.
He's just a WWE
I'm a
fan.
fan.
He's a fan.
You'd be great. Why don't you try? Yeah.
Too many bumps.
We'll get into that in another segment.
Okay.
Fine, but
Too many bumps. Bumps. You gotta take your bumps. He's like, I got kids. I ain't trying to take no more bumps.
I definitely want to ask. This is my last question to it because I'm always interested in seeing wrestlers go into fighting or any other sports. Which one were you more nervous doing? I know you only did the one fight, but like, can you remember that moment when I'm about to go into this cage with this chick, and I know that it's gonna be knuckles to face, right? That's how it's gonna work. Which one were you more nervous for?
So I think I felt about the same. I will say that I was asking myself, am I really going to hold someone down and punch him in the face? Like, am I gonna do that? That's
what I've been training to
This
do.
is crazy. Like, I remember thinking that before. Like, what am I doing? Because I do remember thinking that before. I never felt like that before a wrestling match. Nervous, sure.
Right.
But I remember thinking, like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Yeah. Like, I'm going to hold her down and hit her in the face? Like, this.
Oh my God.
Like, it's.
Sounds like a dream to come true to me.
But I didn't have a problem. I did it just fine.
Yeah. I can't believe that mindset. I can't believe it. But no, I just want to reiterate to everyone this: Randi Miller, right, Olympic bronze medalist, and truly for me, I don't know how you feel, but for me, great friend. I've enjoyed watching your career.
Friends.
How many of us have them?
No, I just love running into you, joking with you, and yeah, man, it's been awesome. But can I wrap this one, or because Randi needs to go because she needs to be 3 hours early for her flight.
I have no idea why you're gonna need to be. This is the airport from hell. This is not a good airport. When you get to the airport, there will be absolutely nobody there. You will walk through security,
Well, we don't know what's
and
gonna
they'll be like
happen.
this. So, did you have fun? Did you go to the Rose City Festival? We love it. Oh, did you have some of the charcuterie board?
Ooh. Did y'all do that yesterday? Go get charcuterie boards and see Godfrey apparently.
No, I sat here with doing an interview with these guys. We did absolutely nothing. Well, I'm not gonna say nothing. I did.
You know what? Screw it. I thought we were having fun doing the podcast, but apparently Akil's feeling hurt about it. So.
I enjoyed the podcast,
you, Lee.
Jane. It was
Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Lee. We enjoy where we're putting our time, don't we?
America's favorite uncle says he. You know what? Let's talk about Uncle Andy real quick.
Oh, Uncle Andy's coming.
Uncle Andy loves his friends, but Uncle Andy is my alter ego. Uncle Andy loves his friends. And in this Uncle Andy moment, let me just say this. Uncle Andy is tired of his friends showing up, eating all the hog moss, all the pig feet, and all the watermelon without replenishing it. Lee, I'm going to need you. Yeah, you ate all the fried chicken.
I not eat all the fried chicken.
You ate a lot of
take
fried
and
chicken.
you don't give
You know what I mean? Lee,
I'm happy to give.
next time. No, but I tell you what, Lee can throw down. He brought me some chicken that was marinated.
You can
Ooh,
cook.
I can cook.
Yeah. hmm
I have to cook. It's part of like
See?
being in the future. It's very important.
But
a life
Uncle,
skill.
but Uncle Andy loves it. Uncle Andy loves the food. But either way, Uncle Andy is tired of his friends showing up and not bringing anything to the party. So Lee, you're gonna have to start bringing something to the party, other than that attitude.
I brought you godchildren. What do you mean?
You brought me 2 beautiful gifts
Okay, so am I covered then?
for now. And Randy, you have brought me joy.
Oh, thank you.
You have brought me pride when I got to see the first African American woman take Olympic bronze medal. And I was just clapping because I was so sad Daniel went to the hospital and I had to hear the stories about that year in 08. But nonetheless, I was like, all right, cool, we got one. And I think there were, to this day, like I said today when I was talking to these kids, if there wasn't a Randy, there wouldn't be an Aaron, and there would not be that young woman that I coached who got to speak with Aaron, who went from wanting to sit on the sidelines to get on the mat. It takes a village. And I know it's an old proverb, but Uncle Andy over here loves proverbs. Yo, you want to go fast, go alone. You want to go far, go together. Randy, between you, Takara, and the women that came before you, I personally want to thank you for inspiring the generation of young women who are now taking the lead. And some of them might be jerks, but at least they're jerks because they have to be. And they are setting themselves up for success. So thank you.
Thanks for saying that. I appreciate it.
Well, can I do the closing part of it? I'm sorry, Uncle Andy's out, so like I don't.
Oh, Akil's back.
Okay. I was making sure.
We gotta make sure.
Right. Let's be comfortable. Well, guys, thank you for joining us. Another great episode of Breaking Barriers. Thank you, Randy, so much for everything you contributed in life, wrestling, and now to this podcast. All right. But stay tuned. Way more to come. Keep joining us. All the underdogs out there. Keep fighting.
Whoa.